Hey guys, it's Chad. We're back again. I'm here with Rob, as always, my heterosexual life partner, and we're joined by the bastard country singer, Mike West.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Thank you so much.
So, do you want to start off, Rob? I know you've got a few questions about some...
Well, anybody who's currently watching might wonder why we just introduced you as the bastard country singer. Yeah. So do you want to explain what that is, Mike?
Yeah, so with what country music is, it's such a wide-reaching genre, and there's so many arguments about what country music is and isn't and things. And, you know, there's alt country, bluegrass, like there's everything under the sun. And I don't really fit into traditional country, and I don't want people who like see me as a country artist to listen to me and go, what the fuck's this? So I want to like pre-warn people that it's a bastardized version of country, because I grew up on rock, metal and punk, but I love blues, country and folk music. It's that kind of amalgamation that is a bastardized version of it.
It's like a sort of like, I mean, it's not new metal, so to speak, but you sort of basically invented a genre there, haven't you, really?
Yeah, it's just something that I think it's quite like, it grabs your attention a bit. And obviously in this day and age, you need something to kind of sell. So I put this on t-shirts and just try and have that type of image and outlook and attitude to it. So this is, you know, country in its like roughest, most bastard version of it.
Was this something that was already like a thing before you sort of got involved, or have you sort of like taken it? I don't know if you're the man who basically started this, but is it something like, is it out there right now in the world? Is it like, you know, is there a genre that is called this?
I don't think there's a full genre of artists. There's like the widest scope of me is probably alt country. Right. And this is just a small subgenre to try and fit in under that, to just try and have something that people can connect to. And, you know, if you hear bastard country, you kind of, even if you don't really know what my sound is, you'll have an idea of it just from those words.
Like I said to Mike when I first heard, you sent me Mothman when we first started speaking, I said you sounded very much like an Amigo the Devil.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You played with Amigo the Devil, haven't you, you said?
Yeah, so I toured with him in 2020. It was his first UK tour. I got on, I think, 4 shows, including we played Liverpool.
Well, that him, for me, was the first time I kind of... got introduced to that kind of folk music, you know, like bastard country, we'll call it. I'll call it brain with you. Like when you sent it, I thought, I really think I've noticed what it sounded like. Because my friend Tom, he's really like a massive Amigo the Devil fan. I think he's actually seen you with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I said you were coming on, he's like, I'm sure I've seen him live. I was like, all right. And yeah, well, anyway, I digress. And I sent him Mothman, which is a banger, by the way.
Thank you.
In the bio beneath this video for everyone to have a listen. What's that? The link. That's what I was meant to say. And I sent it to him because, again, it's more his kind of thing that I enjoy it. Like yourself and Amigo Devil, great musicians. I sent to him, and he was really into it. He's like, "Oh no, this is really good." And obviously, with you being British.
Yeah,
like we're not really known for our country music, are we? I have to think like country. When I think of country, I think of like Willie Nelson or like Americans. Yeah. So like, how does do you have a lot of American fans? They kind of get it, or
I have some American fans. There's a really great European scene for this type of murder folky, bastard country, trash blues style of just rough country and blues and folk music, and it's weird with. You know, obviously country and America go hand in hand. So they've always got that kind of, you know, just synergy to it. But there has been a good UK scene coming out. Like I'm a part of Rogue Country, which is a platform to show UK artists off in like the international scene, because there are some amazing artists coming through. And, you know, in the 50s, Liverpool was called the Nashville of the North because of how many amazing country artists were coming out in that era. Like, and they'd toured with Willie Nelson and Buck Owens and stuff, but they've kind of been lost to history. So the only way I can really find them now is in the local like record shops around Liverpool and Birkenhead. You'll find them in the country bargain bins, like Phil Brady and the Ranches and stuff like that. So there has been a strong country scene in the UK, and there is slowly something coming back as well. So like, I don't know if you know, like Sierra Farrell, we're bringing her over in June, Possessed by Paul James. he's coming over in June, and we're putting these shows on to try and get American artists paired with UK country artists to just try and show that we do have that scene here.
And what's that? Is that on a UK tour, is it? Or
yeah, so Sierra Feral, it's only Northwest Day Possessed by Paul James. It's his only headlining date. He's playing with the legendary Shack Shakers. And it's just trying to get these artists that have a fan base and showing that there are country artists. Because I've been lucky to be able to open for folks like Amigo the Devil and stuff and reach those audiences. And it's just trying to create those opportunities continuously for the smaller UK country acts.
When you speak to the American artists, like you were just saying, are they a bit hesitant? Because like I was saying a minute ago, like obviously when you think of country, you normally think of American. Are they very much like, well, you know, they might not get it kind of thing, or are they quite open to the idea of it?
I think they're quite open to it, and it helps that I'm quite a cheap opener for tours and things as well. Like I have my own camper van, so it's not like I take up accommodation fees or anything. It's one of those things where if they're coming over and they need support acts, it's always a good conversation to have, and they kind of work together. But sometimes they bring folks over. There's never been anyone really shocked, but there's never been someone really who knows what's already over here. So it is a lot of dealing with booking agents and promoters to say that there's a scene here and then get those shows.
I'm actually going to go off topic slightly, because I remember, I think it was during the first lockdown or maybe just before, but a film was released in the UK. It was called Wild Rose, and it was starring Jessie Buckley, quite up-and-coming British actress. But it's based in Glasgow, the movie, basically.
Yeah.
About a country western singer. Now, it's not in the same sort of sound as you. It's more traditional country.
Yeah.
But the whole movie is about this. Basically, she's a dropout. She's basically, she's sort of getting in trouble all the time. She struggles with the two kids. Julie Walters plays a mum, and basically she's comes out of prison. And her dream is to go to Nashville and go be a country western singer, basically, to be like, like Dolly Parton or, from that era. And, but the whole movie, I'm not trying to spoil it for anyone watching it, but the whole movie, she's dreaming about going to Nashville. And she does go to Nashville, but she realizes that basically that, everyone's trying to go to Nashville. Everyone's trying to break that scene, trying to be the next, Willie Nelson or Johnny Cash. And then she realizes she needs to concentrate more on the scene back home. Yeah. Country scene. If you're not seen it, I really recommend it.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, let's say it was an independent movie, but it's got, it's got some
true story or
no, but like you say, it was a different kind of film. And again, sort of like when I'm listening to your music, just in preparation for this podcast, I always, as my dad is always, whenever my dad would make me listen to music as a kid, he would say to me, oh, listen to this band because they sound like this and they sound like this, so you might like them. That was the only way to convince me. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. I'm like, no, Dad, I'll watch it, listen to it one day, and then discover it 10 years down the line and have regrets for 10 years, over 10 years. But my dad would always say, listen to this, and because they sound like this. And when I was listening to your music, especially songs like No Grave and Ballad of the White Collar Arsonist, I think it was.
Yeah, the mouthful of a title.
I'm a big Sons of Anarchy fan, and like there was lots of, it sounded like songs, like kind of from that kind of era. Well, that kind of music, like the White Buffalo. Which I'm aware of them. Yeah, are they in the same sort of genre as what you're trying to sort of get into, or? Yeah,
it's anything that's got a bit of grit, a bit of dirt to it, a bit like just something that's a bit darker. So there's always there's been murder ballads, and if you listen to like Johnny Cash's America, there's always been that kind of music underneath everything. And it's just kind of Sons of Anarchy definitely propelled like artists like the White Buffalo in that type of style. And then I think Amigo the Devil and Sean James, they've capitalized on that type of sound. And there's this kind of more alt country, darker sound coming through, which is really fun. And I remember I was writing my own songs. And I was listening to some stuff, and it was the Johnny Cash American recordings, that's a huge influence. But there wasn't many artists I could find like that. And then I heard Sean James, was like, oh shit, he's doing what I want to be doing. Then I found Amigo the Devil, Possessed by Paul James, and all those type of darker artists. And you realize there is a scene and a need for that type of darker country music.
I certainly feel that this music is becoming more and more apparent, because when I was listening to your music, I was thinking again, not meaning to compare you, but this is how I sort of perceive music. I was thinking of Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man, Young soundtrack. That's very dark, gritty. It's like it takes you to the scene. It was black and white, western with Iggy Pop and Johnny Depp and many others. And then I was listening to thinking of like the songs in Sons of Anarchy that they cover, like House and Sun, and they don't better it, but they certainly take you on a different path with it. I mean, like, and that's kind of the vibes I got. Like, so I mean, I was telling a friend at work today who's a massive Sons of Anarchy fan. I said, if you like the White Buffalo, then check out Mike West. And
thank you.
I'm into that because I heard that in the music, like No Grave especially. That was like, I mean, I would say Mothman is excellently produced, and but No Grave sounded a bit more darker, a bit more gritty sort of thing, and I really sort of connected with that because it took me back to scenes from films where, and like I say, these days, Peaky Blinders is a perfect example. You're sort of hearing this kind of music. It's coming through, isn't it? And it's becoming more apparent.
Yeah, especially with like Peaky Blinders. Sons of Anarchy I think Sons was definitely the first like TV show that propelled that type of music, and then Peaky Blinders took on loads of different stuff. Like they had like Anna Brunn's All My Tears, stuff like that. And then that kind of music has seeped into the kind of narrative or the language of films and TV shows. And it's been really fun to see. Like you see artists like Call to Wall on trailers for 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, stuff like that. Yes,
absolutely. And I was listening to the music and I was just sitting there thinking, this is soundtrack music. I mean, obviously it's music of its own kind, but it's definitely, it fits perfectly with stories. Like, I was just like lost a little bit into it, thinking like, I was walking down the road, went for a walk last night, and I thought I'm gonna put it on. And then, like I say, whilst walking in the dark, I thought, this is quite what I'm doing, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly the mood and thing I needed. That's exactly when to listen to my music, is when you're walking around in the dark. If it's raining, it helps as well. If it's a bit foggy and just a bit atmospheric.
Yeah, but poetic sort of thing. It's sort of like, I mean, Chad, you want to make a film one day, don't you?
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And if that kind of, when that day comes, like I said, I can imagine a Mike West song or of that genre in that, because I think it just flows, it makes a film or TV show or a scene flow so much better.
Well, with Mike's music, again, like you were saying, it brought me back to like very, like when you're watching a Western and that guy comes into town, and it's like, he's a bad guy, and he's going to shoot someone in the face. You don't want him to shoot someone in the face, but he's going. And it's that kind of music like that, that dread, like, happening here. And it's just like good, like music, like you were saying. It is like, I'm not a big, I can't say I'm not really listening to a lot of it. Again, like I've listened to you, Amigo, The Devil. I'm a big Johnny Cash fan and stuff like that. And you can definitely see where your influences were. But like Rob said, I completely agree. Like it's one of those kind of music, that kind of music where if you're walking alone at night and it comes on shuffle, you'd be like, oh shit, what's going on? You know what I mean? You get scared yourself a little.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're talking like storytelling through music, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But going back, so now I'm taking you straight back now. So when was the sort of time, when was the part of your life? I'm just going back to teenage years, maybe your younger years. What band music was it that you heard like straight away that made you sort of fall in love with music?
So my dad's a huge punk and like rock and metal fan, and I remember he brought home the Kiss My Ass DVD.
Okay.
And I saw Ace Frehley playing guitar and was like, this is it, man. So I had to go get a guitar and start learning all the Kiss songs. And then it was, as I grew up, I was just exposed to all like metal music. So Pantera, Linkin Park, Metallica, like everyone. And I was in a thrash metal band first when I was in my teens.
What was it called?
It was called Names of the Fallen.
Okay.
Yeah. We played the Barfly back when it was the Barfly, things like that.
Is it Barfly London? Is it the Barfly London? Is it?
No, it's the Village. Is it the Arts Club now in Liverpool?
Oh right, okay. I don't know the venues well in Liverpool. Crazy House.
Yeah.
I remember that. A good rock club, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who's your favourite thrash drummer?
Thrash drummer. Does Vinnie Paul from Pantera count? I think
so.
He's more groove.
Vinnie Paul, Dave Lombardo.
Yeah. He's more groove, but I just think Vinny's drum sound, like the bass alone was just like insane. Like on Psycho Holiday and stuff, just his drumming sound, you could tell it was Vinny straight away, and I just loved his drumming.
Slight trivia: first band I ever saw live was 2000, reinventing the Steel Tour, Pantera at Manchester Apollo, supported by Cytericon and Powerman 5000, which is the lead singer, is Rob Zombie's brother.
Oh, nice.
Spider. But like I mean, I am into metal. I do love metal. You know, it takes me back to my youth. I don't listen to it as much anymore because I like more soother sounds now. Where your music was perfect last night, I was like, this is more like it.
Yeah.
But actually, I will say, and I heard two vocalists in your voice, and very similar. I'm not too sure if they were influencers at all. One being Tom Waits and Lane Staley from Alice in Chains.
Lane Staley's a cool one. I've not heard that one before. Everyone says Tom Waits, and I think it's if you have a bit of gravel or a grit in your voice, everyone goes Tom Waits. And I'm not a Tom Waits fan. I couldn't really tell you one of his songs.
I've listened to it many times, and I must admit, there's one song I like, "Sea of Love." You can watch it on the movie, the Pacino film. It's in the credits. But I would not personally ever go to Tom Waits' album and go, let's have fun.
Yeah.
But I would definitely go to a Lane Staley album any day of the week because it's Lane Staley. Awesome, yeah. Wow. But it's that basically that I love in your voice, and like I said, but the grit, collaboration.
Yeah.
But the grit, like, how do you does that come naturally?
Yeah, it's like I don't force it, and I don't like. I've had singers come up to me and say I'm going to shred my vocal cords on it, but I sing properly. I sing from the chest. I'm not singing from the throat, so I can do that for a tour and for prolonged periods of time and not destroy my voice.
Is that something you had to learn through a vocal coach or something you took on yourself?
Just from what I had myself, because after being in metal and stuff, like in Metal Hammer, they did an article on Robert Johnson and selling his soul to the devil. So I got heavily into blues, and there's an artist called Blind Willie Johnson from the 30s.
Yes, of course.
Who he has that gravel and grit to him. So I started just kind of incorporating that type of thing, and it was just listening to him loads, and it was just that natural style. Like, coming from a metal band to playing acoustic, it's quite vulnerable because you're going from huge amplifiers and like 5 people on the stage to just you and a guitar. So I'm
guessing you're the singer then in the metal band.
Yeah, singer and a rhythm guitarist and occasionally lead and stuff. But going from that to acoustic was different. And I put on the grit and the gravel a bit more than I'd have liked to, and I would nowadays, just to try and hide behind that type of thing.
Right. Because like I say, it's when you go to because I listen to that and my throat hurts personally. But I mean, obviously, it's doing everything it needs to do. You know, psychologically, I'm in the moment and stuff. But I hear the vocal, and I think, how like it's natural talent, really. You can't. I don't know if you can learn something like that. Because I think if you learn it, you force it. And that's how I'm no vocal coach whatsoever. But that's how I sort of perceive music and like the way people and singing and things like that. But yeah, no, I think it's incredible talent.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Thank
to be honest with you, like a couple of times whilst I was listening to your music, I was with my son, listening to like Mothman and a couple of others that are on Spotify, and I tried to kind of like mimic what you were doing, and my little lad eyes, he kept looking at me going, "You're not as good as him, Dad." I was like, I know, son. Yeah, I know, like it hurt my throat, but I can see that's probably because I was going from not my chest.
If you're trying to go technical, people think it's from there, like as if you're trying to cough something up, but it's from like deeper into there. It's like
diaphragm.
Yeah, it's the diaphragm things. But again, that took me a while and a lot of shows and a lot of practice and a lot of years to get to the point where I can just keep going for the entire set or however long I need to do it for.
How long have you actually been playing for now?
So this solo project, I'm going up to 6 years.
Right, okay. So I suppose during lockdown, you must have had a bit of time to sort of, rethink, new songs. Because like I was saying before, Mothman it sounds a lot different to the other songs. Like I say, it's gone, you can tell the production value is much higher. And it's not that, it's just more and it's got a bit of this music video.
It's like the lyric music.
Yeah, the lyric.
That's really cool, by the way. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was really
I generally thought that was like official sort of thing. It's like, it was all
put
cool. Together.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, I am.
On to the Mothman, whilst we're going on to that, Harbinger of Doom, some would say. Obviously, there was a film in the early 2000s, I'm going to say. I think I was out with Richard Gere, isn't it, right?
Yeah, the Mothman Prophecies.
Mothman Prophecies, that's it, isn't it? Was that anything to do with like you? I know you speak about in your video, but like, is it a big part of why you chose this song to do about Mothman? I mean,
kind of, because I remember I was obsessed with cryptids when I was a kid. My mum had this huge like old encyclopedia, but it was an encyclopedia of weird shit, and it was I remember I was flicking through and there was like a section on werewolves and then there was like Bigfoot. And I was like, I think I was like 6 or 7 when I found this book and was flicking through it. And then Mothman was in one of the books that I managed to find. And then by that time, Mothman Prophecies came out in 2002. So I was like 11. And I remember watching it and not having a fucking clue what happened in it.
Yeah.
Just like way too young, being like, I have no idea what this film's about. But it's just like that imagery and that story was just really fucking cool. And obviously with like the film and with just being obsessed with that type of stuff, it just played on my mind more and more. Then finding like the Small Town Monsters documentaries and just digging into cryptids. I rewatched Mothman Prophecies the other month and it's okay. Like it's not a huge influence on me, but it kind of kickstarted everything.
When you were younger, when your younger mind, obviously, if you hadn't have watched that, you might not have found that book and you might not, oh, what's on them? And then you've got Mothman.
Yeah.
One of my questions, like I was saying before we started, is I'm a massive cryptid fan. I love looking at like all the different kind of ones. Would you like, if you were to do like another one about another cryptid, who would you pick? If you had to do another song about a different cryptid?
Well, that's the thing I want to do now is I want to do an EP.
Oh, nice.
And call it Cryptid Country, and I want to do it solely on like Chupacabra, Loch Ness, UFOs. There was another one I wanted to do as well. I wanted to do one on Sasquatch. So they're the ones I want to try and do. I think Chupacabra would be fun, but with cryptids, it's trying to have an in as a songwriter to how you'd relate it to people. And with Mothman being a harbinger of doom in my songs, like I always joke that my songs are to fit existential crisis into 3 minutes. So Mothman plays perfectly into that type of thing where you can't stop what's about to happen to you. So I wrote that song, but it's trying to find the ins for the next cryptids. That's what I want to try and work with. But I want to get some of my more talented friends to join me on these songs and help me write them and play on them.
Well, this is your chance. You know what I mean? You had a little belt out before. Get Rob on it. You can do one about Stone Gates.
No, that's just me literally singing songs in my shower all these years, and just basically when you put music on and you're listening to it and you're singing with it, you literally think it's your voice in the end. You're thinking, hang on, I could sing like Kurt Cobain, I could sing like all these greats, and then you listen to you take off the headset and you're thinking, oh no, you can't. Whereabouts in the UK are you from then, Mike?
I'm in the Wirral.
Okay, have you got any cryptids around the area? Like in Wales, we've got 2 main ones. I thought we could talk about. I don't know if you know about them, Rob, or Mike. You might not know, but like, have you got any in the Wirral area, like of note?
No, but there's apparently been big cat sightings, and that's one of. It's not a cryptid, but it's a fun thing I like to always read about, like the Beast of Bodmin Moor and shit like that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and there's been apparently sightings in like New Brighton and stuff of a panther, which is bullshit. But it's just part of me's like, it's the same with any cryptid. It's like, but it might be. And that's what I hang on to.
That's what I love about cryptids. My wife doesn't get it, Mike. She doesn't get it. Like, we were watching, what was it? You know, The Champ, who's basically the American version of the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, it's not real. A massive dinosaur can't live there. I'm like, but what happens if it is? Yeah. Like, what if it is there?
Question everything.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't know.
What's the 2 that you guys?
Yeah.
Well, I can think of 3. We've got the what's that big lake just past here? Me and Jason went to it. The Bala. We've got the Bala Lake Beast.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is basically like a small version of the Loch Ness Monster. You can Google it; these are all real things. Right, I might butcher the name of this one, but we have basically like you've heard of like the dark dogs, like in like, UK sightings of the black dogs with the red eyes, and I think it's pronounced because we're in Wales, we are like the Gwaskies, and basically they're large black dogs, and they're often found near Wrexham area. These are. The big black dogs with red eyes. And then we've got the Christmas one, which is the Marriage Lloyd. Have you heard of that?
Is that the one with like the deer skull?
The horse skull, yeah. You've got a rap battle it, otherwise it'll come in your house and in your food. Amazing. Only the Welsh could come up with that, couldn't they? Like, you've got a rap battle, a dead horse in Welsh, otherwise it's going to come in your house and in your food.
Sounds like a creature feature film.
Oh, that's what I want to make a short film about one day. But yeah, I just thought we'd throw some fun little cryptids about where we're from. I know it's off topic.
No, that's amazing.
I'm also Welsh, but I've never heard of any of these.
No, I think I butchered the second one's name. I'm not fluent in Welsh. I am Welsh, but the language is known to me. I think it's pronounced Gwaski.
Sounded right to me.
Yeah, they're like demon dogs, basically. But yeah, they're the 3 that I could think of off the top of my head. from this kind of area. Well, Mary Lloyd is more South Wales, but you know, we're all the same. We're all the same.
I was going to ask Mike, as Chad mentioned films, then is it like, I always know that musicians basically were influenced because here at the musicians, and they sort of gain their sort of like their interest in their music and their mind and their thoughts on paper through that. But do films at all, or is there a particular film that's ever spurred you on in your music process?
I think there's a few, and I try and reference some stuff. Like, it's not a film, but in my song Rock Ferry, I reference True Detective. I just steal a quote from them.
Yeah.
And it's just like the imagery for Mothman for the album artwork that was influenced by the 1931 Dracula posters.
Right. Okay.
So when I was talking to Eaten Alive Illustrations, who's a local Liverpool artist, we were sending over things, and the way Mothman's been done is it's so varied, and obviously a lot of them's like heavy in black, so you don't get much detail of them. But I wanted to have something that was like 70s, 80s, like shock horror, like campy, but it's also a throwback to the Universal monsters, which I'm just in love with that era of film. So I love like the 80s John Carpenter stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think what I love about horror films and how films influence is they let things breathe. They let a space build up to have tension. And it's with metal and stuff, it's always fast. It's got to go. But when it breaks down, it's heavier.
Yeah.
And it's when that space is allowed. And it's the same thing with a jump scare where it's like, as the space gets apart and you play with the tension of it, that's where interesting things happen. And that's what I try and do with my music, is see where those spaces are, that you can let the audience soak it in a bit, and you can play with it as an artist and just let the songs breathe and build without having to fill it with a million notes.
Is there a certain soundtrack that happens to be one of your favorites?
I do collect a lot of soundtracks. The Thing, like the Ennio Morricone, John Carpenter soundtrack's just perfect.
One of the odd soundtracks I think of Morricone, because for me, he's like, you know, he obviously dealt more so in the Western sort of genre, and so when you hear something like The Thing, it's very different. It's not. When I think of Ennio, I don't go to The Thing. I never did it. It's one of his best, but I never think of that as him. I forget sometimes. I generally think to myself, oh yeah, that's Ennio Morricone. But like it's that is one of the like. It's just like so simple. It's just a simple soundtrack, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that's
I'm going for this collaboration. But
I'm constantly, you know, was it like some sort of like, you know, amateur beatbox or something? But no, like I say, I'm fascinated by people's mindsets when it comes to, you know, their influences, because I think I generally, because I'm always a believer, like, you know, since meeting my dear Chad, you know, he's brought, you know, a lot of horror films into my life that I would never pursued before. So I mean, I love all genres of films. And I think, like I say, when people discuss it, and, you know, I don't think it's much of a thing anymore, because we have the internet, and the internet can be so distracting. I think when you've got, like, you're talking, but back in the day, you know, like the 2000s era, like late 90s, mid 90s, you would talk amongst your mates and you would say this band, and you would go and sort of visit it. Like, I'm a big believer in pushing people and trying to, you know, take a chance on things. And like I say, you know, like I said to anyone watching, if you like the White Buffalo and Sons of Anarchy, you like Peaky Blinders, and you like basically Western country sort of music, then try out Mike. Like I say, that is the kind of, you know, I think there's a future, big future in this kind of music, because it's becoming more popular.
Yeah.
And I do believe, like you say, you know, that's why I'm a big fan of just chatting and sharing everyone's interests, because like I say, you need to get it out there, because I think people are going to miss out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think word of mouth is still the most important thing, because I can be on Facebook or Instagram and be like, listen to Mothman, listen to Mothman, listen to Mothman. But if you guys turn around to one of your mates and go, have you listened to this Mothman track? Yeah. They're gonna listen to it more likely. It's the same thing with films, where someone can be like saying, you know, like whatever film. Like I really liked The Last Duel last year.
Yes.
And it was like,
I thought it was a good film.
Yeah, and that didn't really do well in terms of the box office and things, and there was other things. But if someone like Ridley Scott's complaining on Twitter about not anyone going to see it, you're not going to go see it. But if someone goes, oh, that film is really fucking boss, you know, and they'll go check out. Word of mouth is still the most reliable and important way to find new music. So that's like how I always recommend things, even though I'm renowned for having bad taste in films, apparently.
Not at all, not at all. Everyone's got their own taste. And that's the thing, see, also, I mean, word of mouth, as great as it is, it can be sometimes slightly bad because one person says they don't like it, then everyone else will like, oh, I probably don't like it either. It's like, whoa, no, you go and check it yourself. You've got your own mind, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, there's so many films that, you know, in the past I've taken a chance on, and music as well. And I've, you know, surprisingly shocked myself and thinking I'm a genuine fan now. And that's the route I'm going down. But, you know, like I say, I can see it's a great example of The Last Duel, because that film, I believe, was taken down because fans just shit on it. Without really trying it. They just basically took word for it that, you know, oh, the last few Ridley Scott films. I mean, I've always thought it's quite a solid director, really. I think people have listened, you know, think to themselves, you know, they'd rather just join the gang, the sheep, and just stick with them instead of coming up and saying, do you know what? That actually wasn't a bad film.
Yeah.
Was that generally a good movie?
To be honest with you, we used to talk about that. The only reason I haven't watched that film was because he was kicking off, and I was like, you know what, you're rich enough. Why would you want me to watch your film? And it's weird that, you know, they used to both say no because he did that. But in my head, I was like, no, people aren't like that. But I'm just sat at the back of it. Oh no, I did that because he was like, well, I'm not watching my film. I'm not watching your film. You're complaining about it.
I mean, if a man makes Alien and Blade Runner, I'm happy to listen to him and listen to his advice for most things. Film.
Yeah.
Has he ever done a stinker?
He has. I mean, I'm not. I mean, like, believe it or not, it's a film I've not seen.
Okay.
But there's a reason why I never watched it, because basically everyone's went on it so badly. I thought, you know what, I can't be arsed. And I need to watch it. But it's called The Counselor, I think it was called, with Brad Pitt and Michael Fassbender. And everything else he's made, I pretty much watched and I've always enjoyed, sort of thing. But Ridley Scott's conversation on this podcast was not planned on the
highbrow.
Yeah. Well, I saw the picture of Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon for his next film. I'm hyped for that because Joaquin plus Ridley Scott is a dream.
Well, the first time it went well with Gladiator. I mean, you know, I look back at Gladiator and I think to myself, you know, Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix, Richard Harris, Oliver Reed. That is a collection of actors. That is in one.
Never watched Gladiator.
Oh, do you know what? It's a really good movie. It's really good.
Never watched it.
It's on Netflix, and you can buy it in most shops for 50p.
Yeah.
Off the subject of Gladiator, back onto Mike.
We'll get Mike back on for a Ridley Scott podcast.
Yeah.
You're obviously, you can see in your Mothman picture we're on about. It's very B-movie-esque, I thought. It gave me big Plan 9 from Outer Space vibes, like it was. I just thought it was really cool, and that's what kind of drew me to it as well. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I sent a picture to Rob. I was like, this is really smart. And obviously, with that, I think I was going with that. To be honest with you, mine's just gone completely blank.
I was thinking about the Mothman cover. About the artist that lives locally to you.
Yes.
I thought, when I looked at it, at first I thought, is this a comic? Because it was quite pulpy, sort of like pulp comics kind of thing. And but is that artist? What's the artist's name again? Sorry,
it's Christian, but he goes under the name Eaten Alive Illustrations. So he did the art, but I have a friend, because I've done my own comics and stuff. I have a friend who's a comic letterer, and he's done stuff for Marvel and Image, and he did the Mothman font, because again, I sent over the Frankenstein and Dracula posters where it's like Carl Lamel presents Frankenstein, and that's where we got Mike West presents Mothman, with those two different fonts to just have that kind of B-movie 30s like throwback.
That's what I was gonna say. So I was just coming back to it. Obviously, on your video when you talk about what influenced your Mothman, you said the Wasp Woman. The Wasp Woman. Like I've not watched that film, but
it's so good.
The poster, I can see what you were going for. That's what I was trying to say a minute ago, but my mind went blank. But it's back. And the Backstreet Boys. I don't know either the Backstreet Boys. So we've pretty much come to the end of our podcast now, Mike, and it's been beautiful. But at the end, we'd like you to do a little plug of whatever you want. Do you want to plug an upcoming album, upcoming EP? Do you want to plug the fact that you brought a new car? Whatever you want to do. Go for it, sir.
Yeah, cool. Well, Mothman's out now on all streaming and stuff. It was on Bandcamp first. I waited a month to put it on streaming because, you know, I don't really mind waiting for 4p to come through from streaming services. I can, you know, hang on a bit longer for that. And that's out now. I'm going to be doing more shows locally and around the UK this year. And I'm hoping to be starting to record my album, hopefully towards the end of this year, probably next year. And yeah, I've also got a podcast, Into the Van, where I talk with musicians and comic book creators and stuff. So check that out as well. I have episodes every 2 weeks, and I'm always doing something.
I enjoyed your caged in Coppola, is it?
Yeah, because it's the Coppola connections now, because he ran out of Nicolas Cage films until he releases more, so he's had to switch to the Coppola family as a whole.
I was going to say, because there's quite a lot of Nicolas Cage films, so that's quite a bulky podcast, really.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I also noticed you spoke to Beans on Toast.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of his music. I'm not really, I'm not a big music fan. Well, in general, I like what I like. I like Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory, and I've liked this since 2000. So that's what I want to stick with.
No other album comes in.
So it was great because I got sent that by a friend, and I was searching through your podcast, which is really cool, by the way. We'll
Thank you.
That underneath and with everything else we spoke about, and I thought that was really interesting because he's not really uber well known. I thought it was a really cool guest to get on.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I saw him opening for Flogging Molly way back when.
Wow.
At the end of it, he was just walking through the crowd selling his CDs. And I've been a fan of him ever since. I ended up accidentally doing the sound for him at Smithdown Festival in Liverpool once. And yeah, I've been a fan of him. I'd started the podcast. I had the Gems on VHS YouTube guy on. And because I'd had him on, Beans on Toast was a fan of him. So that's why he agreed to do my thing. So I got lucky with that because he's a really great, interesting person to talk to. And I've got his book and stuff, and he's a great guy.
Are you hoping to take your touring across the pond?
America's so expensive, and I can't risk going over there illegally and getting banned for 5 years. Yeah. So I've done 2 European tours in 2019, so I want to go back. I was meant to do one March of 2020, but obviously the world shut down. So I want to go back across there. Obviously, Brexit's kind of scuppered that in terms of carnets and things like that. So I really want to just travel the UK a bit more and grind out. I was playing with Cam Cole in September of last year and December of last year. So that was really fun to get out and tour more of the UK. So hopefully I can get to go over to Europe and America at some point. But until then, everyone in the UK is going to get sick of me.
You should try North Wales.
North Wales.
Where about in North Wales do you guys?
Rill.
Rill. Oh, I've played Rill a bunch of times. I've played the Pot.
Oh yeah, I might have been there. The Pot used to be just over there. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the only venue you tried, or is it anywhere else?
I've played the Pot. This is my poster wall. I think I've played some other venues in Rill, but I can't remember. But if anyone will book me, I'll play anywhere.
Oh,
give me a message. I know the music promoter around there will sort
of sound.
On that note, thank you for coming on, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Really enjoyed it. And like I said, we'll put Mothman underneath in the bio, the link, your podcast, where to find you, your address, everything, your bank details underneath. So thank you very much for coming on, man.
Perfect. I'll send you my PIN number just so we're covered.
You need it, definitely.
Cheers, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cheers, man. Massive thank you to Mike West. Make sure you check him out. Put all the links underneath. And he's done something very special for you cool cats and kittens. He has basically put a 15% discount code for anyone watching this. What's the code, Rob?
Wicked.
Go to his store. We'll also link that in the bio, and they'll be all over our socials if you can't find it. So yeah, next time, guys, who've got on that, Rob?
We have Neil Hibbert.
Oh yes, from For the Love of Horror.
Yes, so
and his own podcast as well. Yeah.
Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, so Neil does a lot of work with the one of the main boys, really, For the Love of Horror, and he just basically does a lot to do with the event organising and whatnot. And he has a podcast, like a live podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, the call For the Love of Horror.
For the Love of Horror every Wednesday with Ben Fallon, another great guy, and Tim Johnson, who does a lot of the tech work, and those guys. Anyway, Neil's going to come on, talk about Comic-Cons, horror cons.
And then after that, we've got someone very special, but we're not going to tell you who yet.
No.
But yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys, and we'll catch you all next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.